I wanted to make a video today about something a little different. In 2 weeks, I've got a trip coming up. I'm going to take the ZX-14R up into the North Georgia mountains. I got family up in that area. And I'm going to be towing the Copperdawg trailer. And in a video that I posted, I had a lot of questions about this, and so I thought I'd take a moment to talk a little bit about this trailer. And also, if you stick to the very end, I'm going to show you some painting that I had to do. When I took this on that trip last June, I needed tires on the ZX-14, and the shop that put them on apparently didn't know how to park the trailer, and they dropped it and scratched it all up, and I'm going to show some B-roll of that. And they scratched it up. They didn't hurt it bad, but I had to fix that, and so I actually did that back in December, last December, the end of the year. So stick around to the end of the video, and that'll be on there. But right now, more about the trailer. This trailer I built in 2016. I needed a way to sort of take any motorcycle on a trip without putting hard bags on it, and so this was the design I came up with. Obviously it's a monowheel trailer. This is my own design and my own creation. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It is a roughly 200 liter trailer, 203 liters, I think. I don't remember now, but I put 53 gallons of water into the molds, and I think that converts out to 203 liters. The shell, the box, and things like the fenders, the doors, all of it is a composite of fiberglass and carbon fiber. There is a lot of carbon fiber up here in the top to form this bridge. This is a monocoque construction, so there's no twisting or warping of this, and so that's how it's able to ride on just a 2-inch steel tube frame through here. This whole frame piece here, the tow hitch, is my design. It is steel top and bottom pieces that are laser cut, and aluminum standoffs bolted together and give it rigidity. And then this is just steel pieces, again, laser cut and put together. The way that this attaches to the bike is there is a rod that goes through the hollow axle, and there's spools on either side, and then this just unlocks, comes up and grabs. And so that is the trailer hitch. It is a fully lit trailer. I don't have blinkers on it right now because you actually can see the bike blinkers from back in the back there, from all sides and from pretty much any angle, so it doesn't really need them. But I do have the full blinker wiring in here, the stop, the run light, the license plate, and so forth. In the back, this wheel is just a wheel I bought off of eBay, I believe. It's just a scooter front wheel, so it's a standard size. The back end is a piece that I made that is very much made just like the front, except this is an aluminum plate, top and bottom, aluminum standoffs, tubular steel, and here again, these pieces bolt together and form part of the suspension, and you can see it, I hope you can see it, right there. I'm going to show you inside. Here on the inside, this little door exposes the air shock. So I've got full adjustable control. I carry the special pump for it so I can pump it up for heavier loads or lighten it for lighter loads. I also have the ability to do a little bit of adjustment on the fly. And so I can always get the amount of, compression and rebound that I want. And then, it definitely is a capable little trailer with up to about 70 pounds. I think I can put about 70 or 80 pounds in there, probably more. I just don't do it. But it is, like I said, it's fully electric. I've got 12 volt in here so I can charge on the go. all the connections are in here. And you're going to see this at the end of this video when I do the painting. You're going to see me take this thing pretty much apart, and you'll be able to see this whole frame and everything. So stick around for that. Again, the back end is just a standard fiberglass layup from my own molds. I'll try to show you underneath and just discuss what you're seeing here. In the center, this is just a splash guard that keeps the trough where the suspension is out of the weather. And then, of course, these crossbars are what mount the box to the frame. And you just got one crossbar in the front there and one here in the back. And then moving around, again, this swing arm at full travel will go all the way up, and so you've got 5 or 6 inches of travel there. There's the back end. The front end, of course, the doors are flush fitting. The weather stripping here, and the design of this is such that the water goes in and travels around, and then of course it can, through turning and stuff, it just goes out here and goes off. I probably am going to put little relief holes here and run tubing out, tube through here, out, and then through here and just out there, and that way no standing water can stay in there even when it's dead level. But because this is curved and because it's angled, water is always flowing out and back, so that's not been a problem. When I shut it, it's completely flush fitting like that. And yeah, so this is my little trailer. Now, for those of you that have asked, am I going to make these? At this time, I'm not. I built this in 2016. It was a pretty ambitious project for one guy to do. I do have all the molds, all the drawings, and I can reproduce these. But life took a different turn, and I'd been away from that kind of stuff, and I don't know that I want to get back into manufacturing right now. Maybe down the road, but if I need to reproduce this, I can. But at this time, there is no plans to do it. I'm just enjoying this thing, learning about it. I've taken one trip so far. The total was about 1,600 miles, and I've done 300 or 400 miles. In fact, I'm getting ready to hook it up here in a minute and go for a ride, just to refamiliarize myself with it. I've cleaned it up and washed it and getting it ready. But the other thing about this that makes it kind of unique is different from saddlebags like on a sport tour, like on my Connie. You're limited to your length. So if I want to put something that is nearly 4 foot long in here, I can. Like if you want to put a folding chair in there, you can. You can put stuff in here that you couldn't put in a top box or in side bags and get it all in there. And also, there's nothing on the bike when I pull up to a hotel or camping or whatever you want to do. I can just detach this, and the bike is clean. And now you've got a sport bike, and I can just, like I said, it's pretty maneuverable. I can roll it right into the hotel room or into a tent or wherever I want. It's lightweight. When I built it, weight was everything, and so like I said, I spent a lot of money on carbon fiber designing this thing. So the box only weighs a little bit over 5 pounds with the doors and everything, but the frame, the wheel, and all that is probably closer to about 45 pounds. And when I had it weighed to get my registration, they put it on the county scales, and because it was under 100 pounds, they just said, we can't even read this. How much is it? And I told them it's 60 pounds. So it's classified as a 60-pound empty weight, but it's more like about maybe 50. You could put upwards of 100, 150 pounds in there probably. And, like I said, you just need to put in more suspension pressure to hold it. But ideally, I don't know what you're putting in there if you're putting in 100 pounds, unless you're carrying firewood or something. But typically, I think last year I didn't load it all the way up, but I had extra jackets and stuff, riding gear, clothes, camera gear, drones. I had a lot of stuff in there, so I only had about 45 or 50 pounds, and it just goes right behind the bike. And then in most cases, you can't even feel it back there. If you were on a smaller bike, obviously you would. You'd feel it in the acceleration and in the deceleration. But on a big bike like the ZX-14R, unless you look back there, you don't know anything's back there. And so it's a pretty handy little thing. So, yeah, like I said, when I took it to the shop, I don't know how, but they scratched it on both sides, just little scratches, little cosmetic stuff. And I wanted to fix that, but I didn't want to do like a touch-up. You know, I'm a stickler for perfection, I guess. But, you know, I built the thing, I painted it. It originally was a silver to match my FC1, but when I got the ZX-14R, I wanted to actually make it exactly the same color, so I bought the OEM paint and sprayed it. And it has now this metallic matte charcoal gray finish, just like the ZX-14R. So yeah, let's get to my repair. Okay, the processes I'm going through here are pretty easy to follow along with, so I'm really just going to talk about some of the, the other stuff going along with what I'm doing here. All the bodywork, like this little lower fairing, are made from either fiberglass or a composite of glass and carbon fiber. And these little fairings are held on with a two-sided VHB or very high bond tape. And what you see coming off here, this residue, is the remnants of that, that tape. After I put the adhesive on there, it just dissolves and I scrape it off. And then this part is ready for paint prep. When I originally built this trailer in 2016, I painted it to match my 2007 FZ1. But now it's painted with a Kawasaki matte metallic carbon gray to match my 2016 ZX-14R. And all the paint on the metal surfaces is just a two-part epoxy flat black. You almost can't tell the difference unless you're in bright light and see the metallic flake. Now this tail cone houses all of the electrical connections, and I've got to remove that and unplug everything so that I can get the wiring harness out of the box and off of it, so that I can separate the box from the chassis. And, like I said, just 4 bolts and this thing comes right off. All right, surface preparation is one of those subjects that, in order to detail all the steps that I'm going to go through here, would make for a very long video. So I'm really just going to show the general steps that I took. And I want to talk about also the paint, in general. Modern paints, like metallics, are essentially what I call a non-touch-up paint. And that means basically if you scratch it, even a very thin scratch, in my opinion, buying a little bottle of touch-up paint and brushing that on there isn't going to do it. I mean, it might look better, in some ways than just leaving the scratch there, but there's no way it looks good. So in this case, it's going to be an entire body panel repaint. And what you're seeing me do here is mask off the sections that I don't need to repaint. And of course, the entire top has a perfect seam line all the way around it. That will be an absolute easy thing to do. Just tape off and paint, and as long as the paint color's correct, it'll be a perfect match. And then I'm going to run the paint down the sides in the back, that sloping area on the back. There's hard corners, and I can blend the new paint with the old, and it'll be flawless. In order to fix, all these scratches, it's got to be filled with filler like a Bondo, but what I'm using here is a very fast curing material that I've used for quite some time. It's also very flexible, so it's perfect for something like fiberglass. Stays bonded forever. And you'll see here I'm really not being too crazy about the neatness. I'm just making sure that everything is filled, and then we're going to correct everything in this next step. begin with, you'll notice I'm always using blocks. That's because all these surfaces, when I built this box and made the tooling for the mold, I used blocks. So it's a very chiseled. All the surfaces are fairly flat. They might be rounded in one direction, but they're not, often two. So blocks work good to really perfect these surfaces back to new. And you'll see as I do this, those scratches just kind of magically are filled and it becomes perfect. And one thing you'll see me doing with my hands is, feeling it. Because, an old painter once told me if you can feel it, you can see it. And sometimes your eyes will lie to you and you'll think it looks good, but it's not. So, I always use my hands, and if I can feel it, that means it's not fixed. And then once we're at this stage, it's time to put on some primer. Okay, this primer is, as I mentioned before, it's just a two-part epoxy, flat black. It's good, by itself, but this paint needs a black base, so it doubles for that too. So the bottom half that's unmasked will get this black, and that will be its final finish. You can see it right there on the other side. But everything else is going to be just, we're using this as a base. And once it's dried, the entire painting surface needs a wet sanding with 400 grit. And that goes on pretty quickly here, just making sure there's no overspray and everything is smooth and ready to go. This paint that I'm using goes over this black base amazingly. I mean, it just lays down in one coat almost, so this is really nothing hard to do here. It's just a single stage paint. The clear, on the other hand, is actually a little more difficult than gloss, because as it dries, it'll fool you into thinking that you didn't touch that you didn't hit a spot. So I'm over on the other side of the box in the shade so that I can see what I'm doing. Because as you'll see me turn this around here, you'll see that the shiny side here, it's shiny right now, but it's already splotchy because those areas are sort of, curing over the top and becoming their final finish, which is matte. You can see here there's still a little splotchiness. This is about 2 hours after I painted, and but it's good enough for me to go in here and start stripping this thing down like a kid on Christmas. I mean, it's just, it's fun to take this off and see what you got, even though you knew what you had in the first place, but I like doing it anyway. All right, and the final step is really pretty simple. I'm just going to reapply everything. This little fairing piece gets another piece of VHB tape, is pressed in place, and that's that. I think the total time that I took all of this, not including, setting up to film it, but it was probably about 10 hours over 3 days. And like I said, it came out great.
Well, that's it. That's how I fixed my trailer. I really appreciate you watching. If you're still here, you've watched it all the way to the end, and I really, really thank you for that. If you like this kind of content, just let me know. Or better yet, let YouTube know. And the way you can do that is by maybe hitting that like button down there, or better yet, just write me a comment. If you like this kind of stuff, just let me know what you think, and I'll get back to you. Thank you again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.